All right, what up? What up? What up? What's popping? We back. We back. We back. We're here with Rashid Locario from RKT Appraisals. What's going on, bro? What's good? What's good?
Not bad. Not bad. Doing okay. Doing okay.
All right. All right. So today we're talking about how to balance your bills, how to make that shit pop off. You feel what I'm saying? So how do you do it, man? How do you make this shit happen? Because all these motherfuckers out here, don't know how to balance their shit. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. So what's your first thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. I mean, the first thoughts is just really just telling people to just kind of really do your homework. You know what I mean? Like actually just look at what you're paying for rent. If you got a car, look at what you're paying for your car payment, and then just look at what you're paying for for food.
Right.
So just really looking at your bills and actually writing them down, and then writing down what you make after taxes. And then after looking at those things, really sit down and really look at and say, hey, am I in the negative? Am I in the positive a little bit? Or am I way ahead? Because, a lot of times, let's be honest, a lot of people don't really look at their bills. They just pay their bills and just go to work and just repeat the same cycle, rinse and repeat all over again. But the truth is, if you actually write down your bills and see how much you stuff, sometimes you realize that, hey, I'm negative $300 a month. How the hell am I doing it? And that's why you get the mental state. People say, man, I'm always broke, man. Yeah, you really are broke because you negative every month, no matter what you do.
Right.
So, that's what it is. I tell people to write their bills down and everything like that. And then once you see it, now you can address it.
Right. So do you think it'll be easier for people to, because I always hear like sometimes people say, well, look at your bills and look at all of this stuff that you can take out of your situation, meaning like they say, okay, well, maybe I could cut back on this or cut back on that. This isn't that important. I don't really need this anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think that's a better way, like to budget? Like you look at your whole budget, see what you've been paying for the past few months, and you say, well, I don't need Netflix, Hulu, and Disney Plus. I could just, you know what I'm saying? Like take some of those off and just use one, or, instead of going to the gym, maybe I can buy some equipment, have it in my crib, and then just go, stay there and save some money that way. You see what I'm saying? So like, what's your thoughts on that?
No, so yeah, Mr. O'Carr, to be honest with you, that's the perfect answer. But the reality of the situation with this one is baby steps. You know what I mean? And the first baby step is actually step one, writing down your actual bills. And then step two, actually look at how much you make after taxes. Then once you actually do that, that's the foundation of where you stand. Because if your bills total $1,500 a month, but you only make $1,300 after taxes, those are your core bills. Those are the bills that you need to maintain to live. So if you're at that level already, at that point, you know what I mean? Now you got to start thinking about like, damn, I'm already in the hole with my main bills. Then, like you said, Mr. Locario, you got to look at, the Hulus and Netflix and everything else that you can cut back. But more importantly, is that once you actually do that, and that's the thing, most people don't actually sit down and look at their bills, and it's not just about budgeting, but actually just know what you're paying for. Once you actually do that, the very next step is like, if you're in the hole or if you're barely making it, you know what I mean? Truth be told, at that point, you need to start looking at how can you fix this, because the problem's not going to go away.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, you can get paid more money at a job, but are you looking for a new job and updating your resume? Did you ask your boss for a raise? How long is that going to take? You know what I mean? So that's the first steps. But the truth is, the real next step is like, especially with the pandemic, everything going on, there's a lot of programs and assistance out here with different ways to help you out with your bills. I mean, there's rental vouchers where they'll help you pay some of your rent if you're really in hard times. There's vouchers for electric bills, all kinds of bills. So there's ways out of it. But the first thing is acknowledging and taking a step of actually looking at what you really got and what you're making and addressing that problem, and you can help yourself out. And at least at that point, if you could take advantage of a 1 month voucher, 2 month voucher, if that puts you up, if you rent $1,500, that puts you up, $1,500 or $3,000. Now you can start. Now, like you said, Mr. Locario, you can start looking at, all right, let me cut this other little stuff out, or let me pay up some other stuff in the meantime to kind of balance things out. And in that same process now you're looking for a job in the meantime, trying to get more money, or try to come up with another side hustle. Jump on an Uber if you could, drive cars, sell cookies. I don't know. Anything you can do is a bunch of ways to make a little money, but try to jump into something. But you definitely have to, like you said, look at every single thing at that point.
Right. That's what's up. So Art said, listening to you guys made me realize I gotta get my paper up with the COVID and that. What is that? What is that? Is that Europe money?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah.
12 months is my goal, as well as sorting my career with shift within 6 to 8 months. That's what's up. See, do just
yeah, man. Good stuff, man. Good stuff, man.
Stepping it up.
That's pounds or either pounds or euros.
Yeah, one of them joints.
Yeah.
And then so like let's say you have somebody who is, you know, they're looking at their bills and stuff, and either they're breaking even or they're not really, or they're behind or whatever it is like that. Like you were saying, you could, you know, like try to get a raise or whatever it is like that. Do you think how realistic do you think it is for people to, you know, in this day and age, just get like a second job or another part-time thing? Or, you know, like what would be like the best course of action? Should they just try to make more money, or just try to eliminate some bills so that they can like not have to pay so much? So you think it's better to try to make more money to pay the bills, or just, you know, cut back on some stuff? What do you think is the best choice for people?
Yeah, the best choice, to be honest with you, is to cut back on bills. The reality situation is you can make $1 million, but if you make $1 million and you want to spend $1.5 million just to live life, you'll do it. Right. And that's what 80% of Americans do anyway, though. Like, you know, live beyond your means. You got people out here that's making $10 now that's living life. You know what I mean? Like, they cut their bills back. They don't got a car. You know what I mean? They take the city bus everywhere, where there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Instead of having Comcast, they may only have Netflix and pay that $60 a month for just internet service. So the truth is, I'm gonna tell you all the time, cutting back your bills and living on a tight budget is a lot better, because at least if you live on a tight budget that way, you're more apt to be careful with your money spending. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing. A lot of times when you think about it, for example, you see people out here that got a $80,000 car and a giant house, got $2 in their account.
Right.
They making money, but it's really how you spending. Right. So the truth is, you know, it is definitely better to make cutbacks and see what you cut back on. Because I mean, you look at everything you do, you can save money on. I mean, I got Netflix myself. I had to cut it off. It's pointless. I never watch it. You know what I mean? But I'm paying $10 a month.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got Comcast. What do I really need Netflix for? You know what I mean? I got the movie channels on Comcast. I cut that off. What I need HBO for? I got the app on my phone. It's just really just navigating what you have, and just really, truth be told, just making the time to look at stuff. Because unfortunately, because everything's so automated and everything's online, we live in a world where they make convenience to the highest level right now. So things are so convenient, people don't actually stop and think.
Right.
And it's getting crazy. I mean, even my Comcast remote, it gets upset with me when I press the buttons. I don't know if you guys got with Xfinity or whatever cases, it tells you speak into the remote to change the channels. Like, how much more lazier you gonna make me be? Like, you're mad at me for pressing the actual buttons? It's a sensor that tells me to tell, but that's the way where it's at, where the world puts you on automatic thinking. And that's cool and that's fun, but the problem is that when you get that automatic thinking, then that's what you do. You on cruise control, and you cruising yourself into debt and all kinds of stuff, versus actually just sitting and thinking about, like, time out. You know what I mean? Why would I pay this third party to pay my bill or do this when I could do it myself and save $20? Like,
right.
So that's what it is. So I definitely say do as many cutbacks as possible. You know, because it's a lot of middlemen in everything we do in life and everything we pay for, from grocery stores to everything. You know, so
right. And so, like, what do you think people should do because like let's say they cut back on the bills, right? I mean, cut back on certain things, and then they notice that they got you know, like extra money, like let's say they got an extra $50 a month. Do you suggest that they save that? You understand what I'm saying? Or just like be like, fuck it, I'm gonna go just spend it since I got the money now. Since I know you know what I'm saying? Like, what's your thoughts?
No, you definitely want to save that money. I mean, the real truth is, and as we all entrepreneurs on this panel, is that you gotta grind heavy at least for like a 2-year period. You know what I mean? To get anywhere. You know what I mean? You kind of just be like laser focused. I'm not spending money on this, being real disciplined, and you get ahead. Because the truth is, a person in that situation, they got to save that $50. Because if you save that $50, you know, for a year period, you know, you add that's almost $600. That's going to motivate you to naturally save more.
Right.
But the real truth is, people say if you start doing things 3 weeks to a month and a half interval, you get used to it, and it's not that hard anymore.
Right.
So that person saving $50 right there, after they save that 50 and they realize like 6 weeks later, like, oh, I got extra $180 in the account. I survived. I didn't need to use it.
Right.
Like, let me squeeze a little bit more, and before you know it, that's how you start building that trend. And that's why I say you just keep grinding and staying focused and being laser focused on saving every dollar you can for a year or two period.
Right.
But the deep route question is saving that $50 over after a year, 2 year period is you still falling behind because you're not saving enough. But it's the start. So it's the start the start that's key, taking baby steps.
Right. Yeah, because I know a lot of people might say, oh, it's $50. It don't mean nothing. And then, you know what I'm saying? So they'll just like spend it. But I think it's getting into the habit or the mindset of saving and having that mindset, because then that's going to sort of change your spending habits and the way that you view money also. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a good thing for people to do. You know what I mean? And
yeah, absolutely.
I want to say another thing as far as saving, you know, to try to save in the smartest way possible, meaning don't just throw your money in the savings account or stick it under your mattress. Try to put it in a money market where it can grow some interest and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, or either invest in the stock market that way. You know what I mean? Because it's always better than putting your stuff in a bank account.
Right.
Always. Even when the stock market is doing bad, you're still doing better than if your money was sitting in a bank account. And so, you know, just keep that in mind, where don't just save money, but because when you think about it, investing is another like strategy of saving money. You understand? Especially when you're investing in like, you know, low risk situations such as index funds and, you know, money market accounts and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's you know, save your money that way instead of just leaving it in a bank account. So
at our RKT appraisals, do you help people do budgets and all that other stuff as far as like, you know, helping them with the bills and expenses and all that other type of stuff?
Oh yeah. You know, RKT, to be honest with you, when we sit down and work on maintaining and fixing the credit and all that type of stuff and all finances, we actually send you a budget sheet. And you know, and once you're starting to sign up with us, we actually give you actual homework assignments. One of our first homework assignments is, you know, actually print out your bank statement and see what you pay every month and write down your bills. But after that assignment, we typically, when you decide to sign up with us, we actually give you a real budget sheet to go over every budget. So this way you actually physically see everything you spend money on, where all the dollars you make is going to. Right. And then once people see that, not like, oh man, I'm in the hole. You know what I mean? You'd be surprised. Like literally like 65% of people realize that they're in the hole. You know what I mean? And so it's like, that's why you'll never climb out the hole if you don't know you're in the hole. You know what I mean? You just keep falling and falling and falling and pressure and pressure and pressure. But, you know, but yeah, to answer your question directly, we do actually give out budget sheets to actually budget and show you what you spend your money on.
That's dope. Because I think, yeah, because like you said, like sometimes when you're just going through your everyday thing, you're not thinking about it. So then it just becomes the norm, and you're like, damn, like I'm always out of money. I ain't got nothing popping off. So I think that's good for people to have that, so that they know how to, like, you know, see what's actually going on with their money, because it's like a lot of things you just forget. You understand? Or you've been just living a certain way that you don't realize. You understand? Or you realize that you could have actually saved the extra $50, $100, you know, every 2 weeks or every month. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. So I think it's good for people to do those budgets and make that happen. And so like let's say if you have a person who you know, they're working at a job, they're making a certain amount of money, right? Their bills is like crazy to where they have like no money to save and they're barely making it or whatever, right? Would you now then say to them, okay, hey, you know, you tried to cut back on a lot of stuff. You cut back on some stuff, but you still like breaking even. You ain't got no money or nothing. You got like $10 at the end of the day. would you suggest them to actually find another job that's going to pay more, or get into something else that would pay them more money, and try to spend time doing that or finding that? You understand? Since what they're doing is just keeping them in the same spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think it's better for them to like try to find something that's going to get them more paper coming in?
Yeah, correct. So, Mr. Lagarde, you're absolutely 100% right. Typically, what we actually do is that we actually have real conversations with people, because half of it is finances, but the other half is mentality. It's all the mind state of mind. To be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie to you,
Right.
because I have people all the time. You know, you got somebody where, and you know, I don't use the right words, but sometimes people just think very simple. You know, but it only takes a little bit more thought. So, for example, I'll sit with somebody and be like, "Hey, listen, what do you do for a living?" And somebody might say, "I'm a custodian." So automatically they thought like, "Oh, I don't make that much money," and blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, wait a minute. So how much you make? All right, you make $13 an hour. I'd be like, listen, you're a custodian. That's your craft. Whether you like it or not, if you're comfortable and you want to stay in that industry, you know, if you go be a custodian for a university or a college, they might pay you like $22, $23 an hour with all your experience, and you get all kind of benefits with it.
Right.
And they're like, no, I didn't know. I'm like, yeah, you gotta milk your craft. So we really have real conversations with people like, listen, we're gonna maximize what you're good at and what you have experience at and what you get paid on. So for that perfect example, like I said, if you're a custodian, you make 12, 13, and your job keep giving you that baby 50-cent raises and things like that, forget that. And one thing I teach a lot of people is that you can't be loyal to these companies. You know what I mean? You're going to be loyal to your pockets and helping your family and yourself. So it's one of those things where people get comfortable and get complacent, but I always tell people, you know, it's okay to get comfortable with always being uncomfortable. You know, because like I said, you can flip that job. You know, a custodian at a little high school might be $13, $14, but a custodian at a university might, like I said, be $22, $23. You know what I mean? A custodian at a law firm might be something different. And all it takes is dusting off that resume and getting that custodian job. And then from there, then you go try a new field. But the point is, you can actually get paid, you know, for more for your actual experience. If you have actually experience or something,
right,
you're top dollar, because you know what you're worth. You know, they know you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? They don't got to overtrain you. They don't got to waste no time. So they know they'll pay you a little bit more. So no, you're absolutely right. We have these real conversations like, hey, listen, we're gonna take advantage of these plans out here that's out here to help you with the bills. Look them up. You Google them, research, and look them up, while at the same time dust your resume off. Try to get the same type of job paying you more. I mean, if you don't got a pension, which ain't most jobs out here that don't got a pension, what are you being loyal for? There's nothing to be loyal. You know, would you a 5-year plaque? I mean, I get it. You know, the first thing people say, "Oh man, I love my job." No, you don't love the job. You love the people. But let's be real. If you go to a new job, you're gonna meet new people. You're gonna like them too. So I mean, you know what I mean. The other people who's really your people, you keep the real close friends. You keep their phone numbers, but move on. You know, so that's definitely something we teach people on a real note. You know,
that's crazy. So do you think there's certain people who, because of their mindset, that's really the issue, where they, you know, like for example, like it might be hard for some people to cut back or to stop overspending, or they might end up getting like some credit cards and get into more debt because they, you know, they're like, well, I'm not making enough and I still want the things that I want. I want to have the subscriptions and the new sneakers and this and this and that. So do you think, like, you know, there's some people who they're just either so far gone that is just a wrap for them, or do you think there's a way, like I guess, what are some ways for people who are like that to get more disciplined? You understand, and to not like, go in the deep end. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the truth is, there's always going to be people that's far gone, and you know, today's a sensitive time. You know, I think it just comes down to who you're working with and what's their patience and time. It's all about who you speak to, whatever company, whatever product you're getting. Do they have the patience? Do they explain things? Reason why I say that, the example, I'm be honest with you, dealing with, you know, I have about 40 people right now work with their credit. I see everybody under the sun in certain things. There's people that did everything you just said, Mr. Locario, self-sabotage, things of that nature. Right. But the truth is, with us, what we do is we actually have real conversations. Like, listen, at the end of the day, this is not that type of party. You know what I mean? Everything you've been through, you know, we've been through, and we have the experience, and we work through it. So whatever fears you have, we let them know that's your fears. You know what I mean? You can get through anything with us.
Right.
but we take everything serious. And so what it is that, for example, I had a client where they would, I got them up a certain amount of points, and they went ahead and took out 2 credit cards, against my advice. But this is a grown adult. I can't tell you to not take out credit cards, even though we discussed not to take it out. You're building right now, but you get excited. You see a score go up 40, 50 points, and a couple of people get approved. You're like, man, and they went ahead and did it. Like I said, it's grown adults. I'm an adult. I'm not gonna baby you and tell you X, Y, Z. But I let them know, like, hey, listen, my time is serious. RKT's time is serious, and our money is serious. So therefore, what we're not gonna do is continue to dig you out of a hole because you're not taking it serious. You know what I mean? I get it. You got impulses, but you have to control your impulses. I'm gonna set up another plan to avoid you setting up impulses, and we set you up, because at the end of the day, when it comes to finances, like you said, it is a mindset. It's actually our mindset. Nobody's really poor, Mr. Locardi. It was just a poor mindset. To be honest with you, America's actually designed that way. Nobody's poor. Everybody truly do have the same opportunities.
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's just moving money around. I mean, I tell my clients all the time, for example, I use myself for example. I got a few credit cards, and I use certain percentages, and I continuously get credit limit increases. And all in this game is just like, like Miles said earlier, it's just moving money around. What do I mean by that? I have one credit card that started off with $500. It's at $11,000 credit limit. You know what I mean? I never use past $1,100 on that. That boosts my credit, while at the same time it continues to give me a higher credit limit. So now I can use $1,100 where it's building my credit, so I don't got to use my real cash. You see what I'm saying? So it's just literally moving money around. Because listen, hard times happen. Things come and happen in hard times. So we just set everybody up like, hey, listen, if you got to use your credit card for some emergency or something like that, just only use it on certain dates. You could finesse everything where you be all right. So it's just really just setting up the game plan. But like you said, it's just having a deep, real conversation. Like, hey, listen, we can do this. We can get through this.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And these are the steps. We'll set you up with the guide. Follow the guide. You can't fail. And they see the results, and they continue to do that. And then for the knuckleheads, I normally give them, maybe one or two tries after getting them to a certain spot. And if it's repeat offenders, it's like, listen, until you serious, I'm not going to take you serious, because the prices that we're giving you is way less than the market value, and we're giving you quadruple the information. So, and then people either fall off and then they come back. But the point is, after they fall off, they understand now, like, it's not a game, and I'm going to do what I have to do, and I'm going to take it serious. But we definitely set the tone is that if you're not taking it serious for yourself, that means we can't take you serious, and that's just the reality situation. And that's just life. If you're not serious, nobody's going to take you serious. So,
Nah, that's some real shit. That's some real shit. And so, any last things you want to say as far as, like, what are, I guess, like, some steps people can take to get out of that situation where it's like they're all over the place with their bills and expenses? Any other tips that they can use to, like, really either stretch the money out or save the money or get more things going on? Any of those?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing, of course, I'd say call our KT. Reach out to us with a 30-minute consultation. But on a serious note, just taking baby steps. The first baby steps I say take is just really printing out your bank statement, and then also writing down all your bills and writing down what you make a month after taxes, and then from there, take it from there. And then after that, next step, just seeing if there's any programs, and there's programs in everybody's states. Use Google, right on your phone, look up what programs out there to help me pay my electric bill, what programs out there to help me pay my rent. Look at those programs and research them, and then take it from there. But in the meantime, you can definitely call RKT. We'll walk you through those processes, depending on what state you're in. But that's my main advice.
Right. And last thing, what do you think is the important things people need to make sure they're paying for? So it's just like keep your lights on, food,
rent.
And rent. That's like, is that like the main
rent? Lights.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Lights, food, rent, and transportation. You got to be able to get to your job.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to be able to eat. You got to be able to pay what you live for, and just the basics, clothes. You know what I mean? Just enough clothes. But clothes don't cost that much in all reality. As long as keeping in good condition. So just the core basics of survival.
And then all the other stuff is extra that they could cut back on. So they could cut back on going to the movies and buying a bunch of like extra toys and cars and like jewelry and fucking go or even going out to eat type shit. You know what I'm saying? All the time, shit like that, where they could cut out all the those things that are fun but not necessary for a while. You know what I'm saying? Just to get these shit back on. You know what I'm saying? So I think that yeah. So anything else you want to say before we get up out of here? Miles, anybody?
Well, I just want to end it off with, it's not how much money you make, is what you do with it. So like Rashidi was saying, like, you got people who make a small amount of money, but they budget and they live a decent life. But you got people who make millions of dollars, but they don't budget. They spend real crazy and senselessly, and still live a lower quality of life than the person who's making less money, right? So, it's not all about the amount of money you make; it's what you do with it and the mindset that you have behind how you handle your money. So, if you set your priorities straight, if you budget, if you understand, different little things about like, paying your bills on time, having a budget in general, like I said, don't just stick your money in the savings account. Try to figure out if you could put it in an index fund like a Vanguard or something like that, so you can make some interest off your money. No matter how big or small it is, you can make some interest off your money, which helps. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you max out if you got a job with a 401k, max out your 401k. Get used to taking money out of your check before it even gets taxed. That's pre-tax money. You know what I'm saying? So you're getting the benefit to a lot of money to go into your 401k before you even get paid, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a mentality thing, and it's all about decisions and, being disciplined and having patience with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have that itch to buy that thing, but if you give yourself a minute, give yourself a couple of days, you realize you don't really need it.
Right.
You don't need to buy it. You know what I mean? So things like that. But either way, like this, the pandemic ain't going nowhere. COVID ain't going nowhere. Like, this shit is here to stay. So things it's going to take a while for things to get better. Nothing's going to go back to normal. It's just going to take a while for things to get better to where we all can cope and live with the new conditions. You know what I'm saying? Right. But with that being said, a lot of people look around and think, oh, there's no opportunities. That's not true. If you're creative about what you need to do, there are jobs all around the place. I go to sometimes I pass restaurants and they got big signs up talking about $200 sign up bonus. They looking for busboys and dishwashers. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different ways to make money, like Uber, DoorDash. You could do Instacart, where you could shop for food and get tips and make money that way. There's a lot of people out there that there's this app called Get Around, where you can, if you can put your own set the schedule and put your own personal vehicle up on a rideshare program where people could use your car to get around and pay you. You understand what I'm saying? So it's so many things that you could do, but you gotta be able to get on Google and do the research. You know what I'm saying? And be creative and sometimes take your ego out of it. Cause you can have a nigga with a fucking master's degree and he's an engineer or a computer science guy, and he's doing all of this crazy 6-figure shit, or he's doing he's making high 5 figures. But in order to get all of his bills, he may have to go do a little bit of Uber or Instacart on the weekend. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
People will look at that shit and be like, man, I got a master's degree. I'm making all this money, but I still got debt. So let me swallow my pride. Let me push my ego to the side and go out there and get this coin. You understand?
Right.
A lot of times we look at it like, damn, I went to college. I did this. I did that. I'm big time. Why the fuck I got to go do Uber like these, like the rest of these people?
Right.
But it's like, nah, you take your ego out of it. Like even last week on the Real Game No Theory show, 1950 was making a point that a lot of people love to think that they're better than somebody just because they make more money. But like we stated earlier, it's not the money you make, it's the money you keep and what you do with it. So you could be making more money than me, but my house is cleaner than yours. My budget is tighter than yours. My spending habits are more disciplined than yours. You understand what I'm saying? So don't take your ego out of it and make the right decisions for what you need to do. You know what I mean?
Right. That's real talk. So on that note, people, we out of here. We will see you guys next week. Remember, the truth is inside you. We gone. Yeah.